The New York Giants just signed an athletic freak. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. This is Big Apple Sports. Tune in every day for the latest Giants news, insights, and analysis. If you're a fan of Giants football, this is the channel for you, so don't miss out. Take just a quick second, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Got a lot more Giants content coming, and this is going to be a super fun rest of the season, so don't miss out. So we all know the Giants have had an issue at wide receiver since Malik Neighbors went down. Darius Slayton also didn't play last week. I'm not sure yet if he's going to play in this upcoming week or not. But regardless, Jalen Hyatt hasn't been getting it done. Bo Collins looked real ugly in the limited opportunities that we saw with him. And the Giants need to make a move to bring in another wide receiver. Well, they finally made one, and it's one that's flying under the radar, but I'm going to explain to you why I think it's actually a huge signing and somebody who has a lot of potential. So, you may have seen it. Giants signed Juice Wells. He was on their preseason roster this year and played a little bit in the preseason. And he was cut, but he's now been signed back to the practice squad. And I think the Giants need to give him a serious look. I've been diving a little bit more into his history, and I've actually been pretty impressed with it. So you start off, you go all the way back to 2021. You see right here, he went 83 catches for 1,250 yards and 15 touchdowns, which I think the yardage and touchdowns are both school records at James Madison. So as a freshman and sophomore, he was at James Madison with Coach Curt Cignetti. I'm not sure how many of you guys are college football fans and are following the way Indiana has all of a sudden become one of the best programs in the country. Well, before Indiana, he was with the Dukes of James Madison, and he had Juice Wells just going absolutely crazy there. Well, then you score 15 touchdowns and the big time schools are going to get your attention. So then he transfers to South Carolina. His first year at South Carolina, he actually had a super impressive season. He goes 68 catches for 928 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that is against top-level SEC opponents. I was looking through some of his game logs, and I was super impressed with this game I found right here. So he goes 9 catches for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns in their biggest game of the season against their rivals of Clemson, number 8 team in the country, on the road. And I think what really stuck out to me about this Clemson game is this Clemson team had Nate Wiggins as their number 1 corner, who, if you know now, he ended up being a first-round pick for the Baltimore Ravens and is playing super well for them. And he and the rest of this Clemson team got absolutely torched by Juice Wells. There was a point in his career where he was an absolutely elite receiver playing against top-level college football teams in the SEC. But then a foot injury kind of did him in a little bit. You see, in his second season at South Carolina, he only got into 3 games, and he only had 3 catches in those 3 games. He had to leave a couple of those games early, and just entire senior season derailed by a foot injury. Well, then he transfers to Ole Miss, gets another full season under his belt at Ole Miss, playing with your boy Jackson Dart. Was not quite as prolific with Ole Miss. They had a lot more receivers to spread the wealth with. Trey Harris was their main number 1 guy. He's on the Chargers now. But he still, what really impresses me is he only had 28 catches to get his 553 yards. He averaged 20 yards per reception and brought in 6 touchdowns. Like that, those are some big time plays coming from my boy Juice. And then I think it's also huge and should be noted that, like, having chemistry with a quarterback is a big deal. Like, I think some of the receiver struggles that you're seeing early on is because Jackson Dart, he came into camp as the number 3 guy, didn't take him long to become the number 2 guy, but he was playing a lot of scout team. He was throwing to a lot of Lil Jordan Humphrey and Juice Wells and Gunnar Olszewski and Bo Collins, and not a lot of time throwing to Neighbors and Slayton and Wandale. And I think that's why you see a guy like Lil Jordan Humphrey come in off the practice squad and immediately, what do you go, like 4 catches, 55 yards, should have brought in a touchdown. Like, you see he and Dart just instantly have that chemistry, and that's because that's who Dart was throwing to all of training camp. And I think he also is going to have that with Juice Wells. Like, they spent an entire year at Ole Miss together. He was one of the guys who would have been connecting with Dart quite a bit in the preseason. And then you saw it in one of the preseason games. I think it was against the Jets. He didn't get into the game like a ton with Dart, but I think Dart's second touchdown in that game, he completed 3 different passes to Juice Wells, including one where he was taken down at the 1-yard line, almost had a touchdown, and then I think Dart ended up pounding it in from the 1 for a touchdown. But, like, they have that chemistry. It takes time to build that between a QB and a receiver to, like, be able to understand, like, just like the different cues that receivers give to what direction they're going, knowing their strengths, where to lead them, where they're going to be able to bring it down. Like, he has all that rapport already with Juice Wells. And it wasn't too long ago that people were talking about Juice as like a big-time potential steal in the draft. So this is an article from January, well before he was ever with the Giants, from BigBlueView.com, and they're talking about how he's probably a rotational receiver but has starting upside if he's in the right situation. Says he's got a lot of the same traits as Victor Cruz, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel. Like I had mentioned, he kind of slipped below the radar because of his 2023 foot injury. But if you look at his strengths and stuff, so his average target his senior year, or his junior year at South Carolina, was 18 yards down the field. That's absolutely absurd, and it's also exactly what the Giants need. Like, I think they want Jalen Hyatt to be that deep threat, but he just is not getting the job done. But Juice Wells has shown he can get it done against top-level talent, and he has that rapport with Jackson Dart. And he also is somebody who is good at getting the ball in space, throwing him a quick screen or a quick slant. They did that a lot for him at both Ole Miss and South Carolina, and he's really explosive. Like, he didn't have a super impressive 40, and I think that's part of why he ended up going undrafted. But he had one of the best broad jumps out of all the receivers, and that's kind of can be like an indication of, like, you catch the ball and you have that launch off your foot into the right direction. Like, he's got that power in his legs to just make those quick cuts and quick moves. And he showed that in college, and that's why he was able to make so many big plays. And I think he's worth a shot. Like, Bo Collins got a shot, and he quit on his route, and they threw a pick. Hyatt has been getting a shot, and he's just not bringing down a whole lot. I don't expect it to be this week, but I would love in the next couple games to see Juice Wells come in and get a real shot, because I think he has the potential to be that other receiver besides Wandale and Darius Slayton that the Giants need this year to help Jackson Dart in his rookie year. And who better than a guy who he has already played with and has a full year under his belt throwing to. So, Giants fans, let me know what you think. I always enjoy hearing from you guys. And then just don't forget, like and subscribe on your way out.